She heard them laughing before she even reached the door. Three women, standing near the marble staircase, champagne glasses in hand, voices just loud enough to carry. One of them said her name, not with warmth, with the specific cruelty that people who have never had to work for anything reserve for people who have worked for everything. The other two laughed, and Rosa Mendez, standing in the service hallway of the most expensive event venue in San Francisco, pressed her back against the wall, closed her eyes for exactly 3 seconds, and then straightened her spine, picked up the tray she was carrying, and walked out into the room. Head up, shoulders back. The same way she had walked into every room in that house for the past 6 years. Not because she was unaffected, but because she had decided a long time ago that other people's ceilings were not her problem. What nobody in that hallway knew, what nobody at that entire gala knew except for 2 people in the building, was that Rosa Mendez was not there that night as the help. She had not come through the service entrance. She had arrived through the front door, in a car she owned, wearing a dress she had chosen herself, as the personal guest and named business partner of the man whose foundation was hosting the event. The same man whose house she had cleaned for 6 years. The same man who had watched her quietly, carefully, and with increasing respect, until the moment he offered her something no one who had ever mocked her in that house could have imagined he would offer. This story is not about romance. It is not about a fairy tale. It is about something that makes people far more uncomfortable than either of those things. It is about what happens when someone you dismissed turns out to be more capable than everyone you kept. Rosa Mendez was 34 years old when she first took the housekeeping position at the private estate of Warren Ashford in Pacific Heights, San Francisco. Warren was 61, a semi-retired technology investor with a portfolio that had quietly shaped several of the platforms most people used every day without knowing his name was behind them. He was not famous in the way that tech founders are famous. He was influential in the way that people who fund the founders are influential. Invisible to the public, essential to the industry, and completely unbothered by the distinction. He had a house that required a full staff, a schedule that required constant coordination, and a reputation among his household employees for being demanding but fair, which in that world was about as good as it got. Rosa came to the job with 11 years of experience in private household management. She had worked in 3 other high-net-worth homes before this one. She was punctual, precise, and had a way of anticipating what a space needed before anyone asked, which is a skill that sounds simple and is actually extraordinarily rare. What she also had, and what nobody on that staff knew for the first 2 years, was a completed degree in hospitality management from San Francisco State that she had finished at night while working full-time, and a fluency in 3 languages that she deployed only when necessary and never advertised. She had learned early that being visibly capable in rooms where people had already decided what you were made them uncomfortable in ways that came back to cost you. So she was capable quietly, she was excellent invisibly, and she wrote everything down. If this is already making you think, stay right where you are, because the moment everything shifts is coming and it is not what you expect. And if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, do it right now, because Shadowlight Stories finds exactly these stories, the ones where the person in the background turns out to be the most important person in the building. And this one is only getting started. The other members of the household staff had their own assessments of Rosa. Some respected her, some were neutral, and some, specifically 2 women who had been at the estate longer and had constructed a social hierarchy among the staff that mirrored in miniature the hierarchies they served, had decided early that Rosa was beneath them in ways that had nothing to do with her job title and everything to do with where she came from, how she spoke in casual moments, and the fact that she never seemed interested in the politics that they had spent years carefully managing. They made comments, small ones, the kind that are designed to land without leaving a mark you can point to. About her accent, about her neighborhood, about the car she drove. Rosa heard all of it. She noted none of it in the notebook she kept. She was saving the pages for things that mattered. Warren Ashford noticed Rosa in the way that genuinely observant people notice things, not all at once, but through accumulation. He noticed that problems in the household got solved faster when she was on shift. He noticed that vendors seemed to respond differently to her coordination than to others. He noticed during a dinner party where the catering company had sent the wrong order and everything was 40 minutes from disaster that Rosa had quietly restructured the entire service plan in under 20 minutes without anyone at the table knowing anything had gone wrong. He had watched that from across the room. He filed it. He was a man who had built a career on identifying undervalued assets, and he was looking at one. He asked her into his office for the first time 14 months after she started. Not to discuss her performance, to ask her a question. He said, "You clearly understand operations at a level that has nothing to do with this job description. What are you actually trying to build?" She was quiet for a moment. Then she told him. She had been developing a private household consulting model for 3 years. A structured approach to operational management for high-net-worth estates that went beyond staffing and cleaning schedules into full financial and logistical auditing. She had the framework, she had the methodology, she had worked out the pricing model. What she did not have was a single client willing to take a chance on someone who had arrived at every meeting so far carrying the weight of how she looked and where she came from before she had said a single word. Warren listened to all of it. Then he asked her to show him the framework. She brought it in the following week. 41 pages, handwritten in parts, typed in others, annotated with real data she had gathered from her years in private estates. He read every page. He asked 9 questions. She answered all 9 without hesitation. He told her it was the most practical and well-reasoned operational model he had seen applied to private estate management in his experience, and he had seen several because he had funded 2 companies in the space. Then he offered her a partnership structure. Startup capital in exchange for equity, the same deal he had made with founders for 30 years. Not charity, investment. Because that is what she was. The consulting firm they launched together was called Rosa Mendez Estate Operations. Her name was on it from day one. He insisted. She had not asked for that, and it surprised her, and he told her that putting her name on it was not generosity, it was accuracy. She was the product, he was the capital. The name should reflect the reality. This is the part that Shadowlight Stories keeps finding underneath the surface of stories like this one. The mocking in that hallway, the comments about the car, the laughter from women with champagne glasses. None of it was about Rosa at all. It was about the specific anxiety of people who have built their identity around proximity to wealth without ever building anything of their own. When someone in your orbit starts to move in a direction you cannot follow, the easiest response is to make the movement look small. To make the person look small. It costs nothing, and it creates the temporary comfort of feeling like the hierarchy is still intact. But hierarchies built on other people's stillness only last as long as those people choose to stand still. Rosa walked into that gala through the front door on a Friday evening in October. She had been a named partner in a firm with 4 active clients and a waiting list of 3 more for 7 months by that point. Warren introduced her to every person he spoke to that evening with the same sentence. He said, "This is Rosa Mendez, my business partner, and the most operationally intelligent person I have worked with in 40 years of investing." He said it in front of the women from the hallway. He said it without looking at them. He did not need to. Rosa did not look at them either. She did not need to do that either. Here is the question I want to leave in the comments, and I want your real answer. Have you ever been in a room where someone decided what you were before you opened your mouth? And if so, what did you do with that? Not what you wish you had done, what you actually did. Because I think the honest answers to that question are more interesting and more useful than any advice anyone could give. If you know someone right now who is being underestimated, who is doing excellent work in a room that has not learned to see them yet, share this story with them today. Not as a motivational gesture, as evidence. As proof that the room does not always get the final word on who belongs in it. The people who laugh in hallways never imagine they are laughing at the future.